All right, so I feel like last week we kind of touched base about our goal here, which is really showing all dreams are supernatural. I will say the podcast name will be changed, actually. I just got too gung-ho, had to say it. But the premise is that all dreams are supernatural, and bringing that to light to people. Yeah.
Correct.
We're Catholic, we're Christians.
Right.
But dreams are not just a Catholic thing, they're not just a Christian thing.
No, dreams are an everybody thing.
Right.
The
Everyone
whole world.
dreams.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that, and I'm actually going to share a dream that I just had the other night.
Okay.
So basically, you told me that a dream that you wanted to share.
Yes.
So we were on the same page, and then I had a dream. If it wasn't that night, it was the night after.
Okay.
And once I had it, I thought, I feel like that goes...
The same theme?
Yes, a similar theme to what your dream was. I think mine's a little more abstract.
Okay.
And I think yours narrowed in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Both personal.
Yeah. Right.
But, so the dream is about dreams.
Okay.
It's just about dreams.
Yeah,
That's how I am taking it. That's how I'm
right.
interpreting it.
Okay. I want to hear it.
Simple enough. So it starts out a young little girl from a very poor family in a very poor house. Mm-hmm. She had a big brother who was also young. And, in the dream, you just kind of see that.
Sure. Yeah.
She was going to bathe and clean herself. However, they did not have a shower with running water. So instead, she used water from the sink, which had been poured into a small basin. The basin was a little dirty, and so the water in the basin collected little remnants from the basin.
Okay.
So I could just see little tidbits in there. However, it was not going to stop her from cleaning herself.
Right.
And that's the dream. It's nothing...
That's the whole dream.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
So, but if you just step back a little bit and you're looking at imagery, and I think that it's actually, I think it's pretty deep, actually. So, just going over it, so you see this young, poor girl in a poor house.
Right.
So I think of the poor souls who, for whatever reason, do not have recourse to the living waters of the sacraments. So there was no running water in the shower.
Right.
When I think of running water, I think of those living streams. I think of the channels, the sacraments.
Yes, because we're Catholic, so we would automatically think that a stream of water, the living waters, would pertain to the sacraments.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, she couldn't make recourse to those waters for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And so I think of souls. I'm not even just thinking about sin. I'm thinking about folks who have... folks in the missions where there's just no priests, or the church doesn't have as large a presence there. And for that, on no fault of their own, do they not have recourse to the sacraments.
Correct.
But even if you are in the church and maybe you do not have recourse to the sacraments, actually, maybe there's some fault there on your end, maybe, whatever reason.
Maybe not. Not to take it away from you, but also there are people who aren't in the church.
Right.
And so they wouldn't have recourse to the sacraments because they don't even understand them.
Right.
And the sacraments don't really mean anything to them.
Right.
But they still dream.
Absolutely. And so actually, and I'm going to go further on here. So the Lord is saying they are not abandoned. She had a younger brother. In the dream, she had a younger brother. She's not abandoned.
She's not alone. She's not alone.
That's all I grabbed from that.
Right.
The water in the basin represents the gift of dreams and the graces they provide.
Okay.
So even though they're not sacraments, the dreams originate from the same waters. And what I'm going to get into right now is just, I think of sanctifying grace, and the sacraments pour forth sanctifying grace. But then we also have actual grace. And those are the graces that draw people closer to the Lord or deeper into sanctifying grace or toward sanctifying grace.
Yes. Okay.
So, and they're not the same. You have sanctifying grace, you have actual graces. And I think dreams are the more temporary, because they are temporary.
Right,
We
right.
have new dreams every night.
So let me just ask you a question. The sanctifying grace, that is that more like, it's like you don't really even control that. But the what do you call it?
Actual
The
grace.
actual
I
I am Catholic, but the actual grace is something that does require a bit more cooperation. Do I have that?
Well, okay, so I'm not going to pretend I know all the theology. But no matter what, both of these graces are coming from God.
Oh,
And they're
definitely.
free acts of God.
Yes,
So in
yeah.
that respect, we don't play a role.
Okay.
But the mystery of grace and the mystery of our freedom
Okay, that's what I'm
to receive, right?
Yes.
To receive that grace, there involves a cooperation.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
That's kind of what I was
right,
thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, there's a ton of mystery in there. But so, anyways, these graces that we're receiving, they do purify the beholder. And I think of the water collecting those dirty remnants from the basin. And not to get into too much of what I don't know, but what I've been hearing a lot is that dreams do have a purifying effect on us, even from a scientific standpoint.
Yes.
And what we were saying last week was, like, the Lord sustains us through dreams. It's a body and spirit thing,
Yes.
and body, spirit, grace.
If you didn't dream, you'd probably go crazy.
Yep.
So,
I think that's what the experts actually say. And I'm not even
yes.
talking about theologians.
I'm not talking about
Right,
the church.
right.
I'm talking about scientific.
Yes, we'd go insane. So they help purify the beholder. I think of the different, like I said, between sanctifying and actual grace, the running waters of the shower being sanctifying grace. Actual grace is more external, so the temporary water in the basin, and that's dreams. But it still purifies us and draws us closer to the Lord. I also think, almost like a double analogy, I also think that the Lord adapts our dreams by using the scraps of our sensory data. So all of our lived experiences
Yes.
get our phantasms, or the data that we collect through our senses get turned into phantasms in our mind, in our imagination. And the Lord uses that and molds it into a new message.
Yes. Yes. A new message with that's been adapted to how you can understand it.
Right.
So that it's not a message for anyone else, it's a message for you.
Right.
It's like our Lord adapted it directly for you.
And that's why the recurring theme is that dreams are tethered to the universal call to holiness and that personal
Yes.
call to holiness.
Yes. Yes.
They are adapted exactly to you.
very
intentionally.
personal. Exactly. Yes.
Which I think is profound. And then just kind of closing up here, dreams are for everyone the way that grace and the call to the mystical life and purification are for everyone. But it is especially for the poorest among us. I think of this poor girl in this poor house, because the poorest have the least restraint and the most to gain.
Yeah.
And that's not anything crazy. That's biblical.
Absolutely. When our Lord walked this earth, he came to be with the poor. He,
Right.
You know, he didn't need to be with the rich who had everything straight on target.
Well, I just think that one of the challenges for believing that dreams can be from the Lord, or from the enemy for that matter.
Correct.
We have this, I think it's easy for us to kind of fall into this ideology. This is unconventional. This is not this prevalent, although it also is my understanding that in earlier days of the church, it was more prevalent to talk about
Probably.
dreams.
Yeah.
But then come the Enlightenment period where everything was based on reason. And if you couldn't reason with it, stay away from it. So I did just hear that recently, which I thought was interesting. But it's certainly not in our times conventional or prevalent to say, oh, well, all dreams have a supernatural origin beyond us.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's isolated from us. Like we said, it all comes from our mind. But there is another force acting on us.
Exactly.
And I think that it's going to be easier to accept that or to believe that when you're not bogged down by either ideological thinking. I just think if you free and open your heart and just think about your dreams, you will see for yourself that there are treasures to be had there.
It will happen. And so that's why the little girl had to be poor with nothing, because really you need to rid yourself of everything, every attachment, every piece of something that seems so meaningful to you. And
Your
just
own
let
judgments,
go
yep.
And just receive and look at it with a clean slate.
Absolutely.
And that's important.
So that's the extent of my dream, but I do think I think there's depth there, and I think it's just the Lord. Well, also the Lord knowing we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And I think that He is offering material to provide, because we're just kind of spreading the word here. We're highlighting.
Well, all we can do is just give what we're given.
Yeah. So I feel like that is a more abstract view that leads into your dream.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you had that dream after I had shared this. My dream. Well, I'm going to give you my dream.
Yeah.
If that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I was visiting a house, and I heard a noise up in the attic, and so I went upstairs in the attic to investigate. And in the ceiling, I saw this flow of water. It was like in a straight line running across, and it was straight, but it seemed like it should have been enclosed in something because it was so straight. But it wasn't. It was free-flowing. There was no structure surrounding the water. Well, when I saw that, I was a little concerned because I thought, uh-oh, is the attic going to flood? So I got a little nervous, and so I called the owner of the house. I was up in the attic, so I called down the stairs to the owner of the house. And so the owner of the house came upstairs, and when I pointed to the area where the water was streaming, I saw that the flow had stopped. I was like, oh, wow. Like, okay, I guess there's no danger, but the flow stopped. And then, like, was the water supposed to be streaming? And then all of a sudden, it's like a little spurt of water started. And then it, like, hiccuped and coughed and went off again. And then it happened again, where it just kind of, a little tiny spurt of water came out, and it stopped again. That happened a few times. And then all of a sudden, the owner went to sleep in bed. Okay? So the attic was unfinished. It was not a finished attic. But there was a small room on the side, and it had drywall. So I crept into that little room, and I sat down because I wanted to be quiet and out of the way. The owner was sleeping, you know? Then as I was sitting in there, I heard footsteps. And there was a mirror in that little enclosed attic that I could look into. And it's like the mirror penetrated to outside the wall of that little enclosed area where I was. And I could see the owner's little girl. Cute little thing. But as I watched the little girl's movement in the mirror, our eyes met, and she smiled at me. And that was the dream.
Just a little recap here.
Okay.
All right. You're in an attic. There's a stream of water going across. You think it's going to flood because it's not around ductwork or anything. It's just a living stream, let's just say.
Yeah.
You call up the owner. When he comes up, it kind of stops, but then it sputters a little bit. Then he goes to sleep. You go to your little room. You hear some footsteps. There's a window. You're looking around. Sweet little baby girl. Connect eyes. Happiness.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the dream.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, I already think of living waters. This is why I felt like there was a common theme there.
Okay. Well, to me, the living waters, of course, is the communication with our Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. And it seems to me that hearing something in the attic, that it's like something to catch the attention, because I don't think people's attention is properly focused on their relationship with our Lord.
Right.
I don't think they even realize how close
Yes.
their relationship actually is, because he has to sustain them so
Right.
much. So here it's like he sends us these little taps on our shoulder to say, here I am, here I am. And so that's why I went up to the attic to investigate, to see, what's going on? I hear this noise up there, our Lord tapping on the shoulder. So seeing the streaming water, it's like it was pretty impressive. And it was this flowing water, and it wasn't enclosed and stuff. It was healthy, okay? And it was strong, and it was powerful, okay? But then I got afraid that it was going to flood.
Right. Okay.
And to me, that kind of means, like, our Lord catches our attention, and like we might see him and we might pay attention, but you know what? Sometimes life is really difficult, and we're actually afraid to turn to our Lord. It's not our thought. It's like we almost forget about him because we get wrapped up in our troubles. Okay. So calling the owner of the house, because obviously someone owned this house. It was not my house. But anyway, so the owner comes up.
All right, I just want to say one thing, though, about that fear.
Yeah.
It is true that, at least in my experience, when we become fearful, we do close more into ourselves because we need to control the situation.
Exactly.
So if I start getting afraid of, could be money related, business related, whatever, it's not the first inclination for a lot of people to be like, Lord, help me. Those are the best situations to do that. But the first inclination is like, oh, I need to tighten up the screws here or else things are going to get even more out of my control. So that's what I think of.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
So then, but the waters were still running, but I called the owner of the house up. And so it was the owner who, exactly what you're saying, closing into himself, the water stopped. And I'm like, oh, okay, because I couldn't tell him it was going to flood because everything had stopped. And so you would have maybe thought, oh, okay, everything's okay. But then the element, the thought, whatever you want to call it, this all of a sudden it sputtered and coughed, and it was like drawing the attention again, because it's like, don't stop me. I want to help you. Let me help you. And so it's like there's this inclination, like, oh, a person thinking, well, maybe our Lord can help. No. What am I going to do? What am I going to? It's like your attention isn't really focused well enough on our Lord. And so the waters, they can only, they can't flow freely if you don't allow it to.
Cooperation.
Exactly.
The cooperation.
Exactly.
Part. Yeah.
So, the owner goes to sleep. Well, to me, that's dreams.
Sleep inside a sleep.
Dream inside a dream.
Yeah. So okay. So
But-
he goes to sleep.
He goes to sleep, and to me, because our Lord works best with us, because we're not as afraid of Him when we're passive.
Right.
And so He can sometimes work with us better if we kind of can turn off everything, like turn off our own fears, turn off everything, and then our Lord can start seeping in a little bit better. And to me, if you start turning off everything, He will speak to you, and a lot of the ways that you would be able to hear Him would be through dreams. Hence, the owner goes to sleep. So then, of course, I crawl into this little, alcove. And to me, it's like, we can't do much to help other people, honestly, in situations that are truly dire. We can try to be there for them. We can try to be close by for them. But this is something that they have to figure out, and they have to work on with our Lord. They have to turn to our Lord to really to really be able to solve these problems and to have joy deep in their heart at the same time they might be experiencing these problems. Sometimes if we try to help, we do more damage.
Right.
What the heck do we know?
Right.
I mean, we have good intentions.
Right.
But
yes.
we can't always help others.
No, and that's
Okay.
the hard part, actually, of really humility. I think might have to be something to do with humility and a false sense of humility sometimes, where it's like,
Yes.
I have a good intention. I'm going to insert myself into the situation. Maybe time and a place for everything, but sometimes that's
It's not that you aren't nearby to be helpful if you're called upon.
right.
But you know what? When someone has to work with our Lord,
Right.
you need to be more on the outskirts.
Right.
Not gone,
Right.
but on the outskirts,
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yes.
then sitting in that room and then hearing these little footsteps, okay? And then seeing this mirror. Well, to me, the mirror is another image of our Lord, the reflection of life, the reflection of our needs, the reflection of our soul. And like what are we about? And the reflection of the intentions
Right.
that we have, and are they good or whatever.
And he knows them all.
But the reflection was able to penetrate.
Yeah.
So prayer is definitely a part of that reflection, because prayer does permeate and penetrate and does help when physical help cannot help. And so then you see that I saw the little girl, and I knew it was the owner's daughter. And the best thing, have had conversations with people just even more recently about being present for your children, being present for your family. And I talked to a couple people that, they said, well, their parents aren't real involved with their family, and they're kind of more secluded. They have their own stuff to do. And one person in particular was saying, yeah, but I don't want to be like that. I want to be present for my child,
Right.
my children,
Right.
all the time.
Right.
Meaning, just to be present for my children.
Right.
So, anyway, to me, the owner falling asleep, he's learning how to be present, because those reflections from prayer and from conversation with our Lord, they reflect out to his little girl.
Right.
Okay? And she smiled, Now, we caught eyes because sometimes we want to be present for our children, and maybe we're learning how to be, but maybe we're not that good at it. But you know what? Our Lord never really leaves us alone.
Right.
Hence, I didn't leave the house. I just
Right.
left a specific, area of it. But I was also there to catch the little girl's eyes, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be supportive. And maybe at a time when a parent can't be available for their little child, our Lord is. And that means that He will put someone else in place to help that little child through a little hiccup of its own, And anyway, so that's just what it's like. To me, the dream was talking about relationship with our Lord and our personal relationship and how that expands to our children, to our family, and also to our community. Because it's like we all are in this together. We're meant to be a community of people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's how that dream spoke to me.
Dream life. We'll kind of close up the shop here, but when we're talking about the Lord, just about supporting and stuff like that, what is that? When we say like the Lord will put supports there. Like,
Okay. One thing is, I'll take myself as an
okay.
example.
All right.
When I have been through some really harsh times, I've always had someone who
Yeah.
kind of was next to me, a friend, a sister,
Okay.
a mother,
Okay. Yes.
And honestly, my mom was a big support for me
Yeah.
through a lot of
Yes.
hard times.
Yes.
And you know what? When my mom passed away, I had my husband as a support.
Right.
Okay, so that's like in a familial way.
Yeah.
But also, you look at people who maybe don't have large families or don't have their family around, and they have groups,
Right.
like small groups
Right.
that maybe they go to because they feel an attraction towards the topic or something like that. And so there are people who are similarly attracted
Yeah.
to a certain topic or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of those things are support.
Yeah.
The greatest support is prayer.
Right.
It sounds so trivial sometimes, and yet it is so powerful.
Yeah. So, yeah, kind of takeaway there's we want to allow our loved ones, our friends, to grow in that personal relationship with the Lord. And let's just be practical here. Let's talk about dreams. We want our friends and loved ones to appreciate dreams. But we don't want to be like, call them up the next day and be like, hey, did you dream?
Right.
If you did, tell me exactly.
What does it mean? Yeah.
So, it's it's a learning. It's something you need to learn. You need to check your pride, check your humility. We want to encourage everyone to look into their dreams. Doesn't mean you have to become fanatical about it, but just to take note of it. And then, if you have questions about your dreams, feel free to be open to sharing.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
To ask for advice and to be open to sharing. And
Yeah.
you know what? We should be like that in all aspects of our lives.
Right.
So that's nothing new.
Right.
Nothing
right.
new.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas, folks.
Merry Christmas.
Can you see our faces here?
Oh,
All right.
sorry.
All right. Till the next time.
Thank you.